welcome everyone to Bad Fanfiction Live. My name is Master Gamington Smite III. I'm here to bring you tonight the creation of the feeling of rooster teeth. The teeth of roosters and the gnashers of many chickens. These creators all started off as mere humble people like us, making stuff like this for our enjoyment, for fun. But as we go, we start to see them excelling up into the heavens and creating the subject of tonight, RWBY. The tale of girls from Beacon Academy, the powers of magic, and punching stuff. And yes, I am a very, very revered fan of the series. However, I shall definitely say that it has been a very, very hard means trying to find subject matter for this tonight. You see, the material tonight has been just too good. It's just been too good. And that's no fun at all, because the whole point of fanfiction is to entice and excite the reader. Encourage a response, and a good fanfiction just doesn't do it. You see, the bad fanfiction is where you can get the true creme de la creme of the internet's finest content. Now, I do ask you if it would be perhaps okay for you to leave a tip. And I am putting that a link in the description and in the chat. So, any contributions would be most grateful. I do thank you very much for your time. So, just be prepared to settle yourself in and prepare for what we have in store tonight. Right, okay. I can definitely sort that out for you. So, if my audio is a little bit quiet, please be sure to let me know, because I can adjust it for you. Anyway, as I was saying, I have left links for tips in the description and in the chat, so any contribution would be most appreciated. But anyway, as I was going to say, the reason why I was away is because last week was because I was away on an adventure, off into the land of the Americas. And as I was doing there, I was trying to find some RWBY fanfiction. And in terms of finding the quality that deserves your perusal, it was very hard. But I seem to think that I have come up upon some gold. And in fact, I do actually have a surprise that I managed to find, a little bit of a twist, and I'll save that for the end of the session. But anyway, let's begin with a short and sweet one. This one is from the Tumblr Bad RWBY fic, and it's simply entitled Yangcest. "Oh my god, you're me!" Yang gasped, looking into the shimmering purple pools of her double. She circled the clone cautiously, but with a smirk. "Wow, I turned out hot." Clone Yang giggled and blushed. "Same," she admitted through a bitten lip. "So now that we've met, what do you want to do?" Yang looks into the camera like she's on The Office. Well, that was literally short and sweet. So, that was definitely a thing. Just a little kind of sample there to kind of get sorted off. But, yes. As you knew from the title, it was going to be full of canoodling. But anyway. So, I can see from the chat already, it has already sparked some engagement from the audience. But anyway. Let us move on to the next one. Yes, that definitely has engaged some of the audience. But anyway. So, let's move on to this one. It is called by Big Dog Cop 36. It's a Teen Titans RWBY crossover called Changeling in Remnant Behind the Seance. Little more of Changeling in Remnant from the chapter before it relect. Hi guys and girls, I'm working on Changeling in Remnant with the author CD soundtrack. Lucky me anyways. I'm not going to say too much, but a certain mask wearer from the Teen Titans is coming in next chapter. Oh, this is serious now. Who with who BB met? What happens next other than a fight, of course? That was chapter 2. In chapter 3, get ready for a big fight. Slade and BB on the same team. Chapter 4. An epic adventure that was with the twists and surprises. I wonder if it's over. Haha. Just kidding, Gee. Know the answer, but anyway, BB has to go back to Big Beacon soon, and Young can't remain arrogant forever. Well, certainly leaves a lot for the imagination. I mean, imagine you're all pretty much left stunned there. But, my goodness. I don't know what to say. It was something to do with Teen Titans and something to do with RWBY, so it therefore qualifies. So, you know, absolutely valid in my book. Okay, let's try and go for something a little more, little bit more long form. I don't know, let's go with this one. Apologies, I need to just change the format of this, but nevertheless. Actually, 8 melodies, you're correct, pretty much. That was 108 words, so you're not far off the mark. So, anyway, let's move on to this next tale by Jetix. And it's simply entitled New Dawn. Long after the age of shinobi and our now myth and stories, the elemental nation are fused with the world of grim and hunters, and watchers the ninja of old are reborn. And I forgot to mention, this is the Naruto and RWBY crossover, so... Disclaimer, I know nothing. Hello everyone and happy holidays. This will be my first fanfic and hope you guys will enjoy it. It is AO in the Narutoverse where Sasuke wins the final battle, because he didn't lose his sword and he used Izanagi. But this story is not about him, it's by him. Even though he did bring peace, the shinobi arts were destroyed and Sasuke gets CI'd by the Sage of Six Paths tools 100 years later. With Sasuke gone, the world was free, but with that freedom came war. But a war without chakra, and with that gone, people created technology, used for good, and the Age of Shinobi became myth and story to tell children to go to bed. After the Great War, which were ended by the Monten clan, that had bird wings giving them anger like a prince, and the advantage of flight, this anomaly was caused by constant sage training in a line of family. It became genetic, and the clan, but without the sage strength and senses. After the Great War, there were only 4 nations: fire, stone, wave, and wind. There was peace for 2,000 years until the Fire King recreated the shinobi system due to bandits, and without the power or knowledge of chakra, there were still new and old weapons, and hand-to-hand combat and little chakra control to make shinobi a little faster or stronger. Eventually, they became a Kage, the first in ages, but people feared them and despised them because they're linked to the tyrannical king. Soon the Kage and the shinobi followers fought for the people. This conflict almost cased a civil war, but was stoked by the assassination of the Kage and wife and their first son, but the wife was of the Monten clan. This cased the consul and the king to be executed. Soon the people elected the younger brother of the diseased Kage as the new king, as he elected his second nephew as crowned prince behind the Hachiu dynasty. Great peace and was there arisen, but clasmatic event occurred as the world drastically changed. The world fused with another world, shock and confused there almost another war. Not only but monsters appeared, causing more tribal towns forms, and even cities were overrun by them. But thanks to the Kage king, he formed an alliance inhabitants of the other world. They brought more advanced technology and more powerful warriors, these warriors called hunters and huntresses, using something like chakra called Aurora. As the alliance grew more treed and the hunters taught the people about RWBY, and thus as they taught them about chakra, soon things were almost normal again. The only derivative is that they lost land to the monster called Grim and Shinobi became hunters. And been 6 years since that day, and every year one that day, the people of Fire Kingdom celebrate what they called Unity Day, as the other 3 nations of Shinobi declare a national peace to unite against the Grims with other nations. Of prologue start. That was the prologue. Okay, a little bit vague, but nonetheless pretty good. Chapter 1. Enter Hiro Hachiu, Prince of Fire. I'm going to begin academy, said a young man of 16 years. Said boy thin but not too thin, what would you call lean, with 2 long back bangs of hair framing his face that was spicked up in the back. His face was sharp, with sharp black eyes, and by female standards he was very attractive, as in his attractiveness was wavering. His cloth looked like the Ambu gear, but had black undershirt with a collar that covered his lower chin and with short sleeves. He also had silver armor gauds on his lower arm and legs with black pants and a red slash for a belt and shuriken holder. He also had fingerless gloves with a metal band, but the most striking thing was the 2 black wings sprouting from his back, like Sasuke with wings. Yes, this is the first time, and it will make our relationship with the hunters stronger. Stone, Wind, and Wave are also choosing the beast taken over, and as you, the next king of nation, M, it will make us look good if our royal family can fight, and you are the strongest in your age group, Beck. Could be. Strongest in the next 3 age groups. A boasting middle-aged man that was wearing red armor that looked like the young man, but 20 years older. Okay, I'll go. Come on, hero, this is a wait, what? You'll go. Of course I'll go, this one in Aleph time, putting it to show how strong we are. So when I leave, at that moment a middle-aged man with wheat hair, a teated shade and a slut and green scarf with silver emblem in the center, and was sporting a cane walked in. Today the man announced, and then took a sip out of a coffee mug, chapter end, note. The semicolon on I, or I did this on a PS Vita, it's really hard, and I'm the worst speller on pant. The worst speller on pant. Well, he's not wrong. And fixing stuff on this is drag. And yes, there are a lot of plot holes, but I clear them up in future chapter. There be a lot twists, so you keep you in dark, but name of chapter that clear most of the plot holes are death of the Bougie and resurrection of Red Dawn, and now things way away. Welcome, Fidey. But, in answer to your question, it is technically about Ruby, because this is claiming that Naruto was the progenitor to Ruby. So, in theory, that's what it is. So it's meant to be kind of a backstory. But anyway, I also got a tip from Blazy Blake. Thank you very much! And it is nice to be back this week indeed. So if any of you other guys and gals wish to leave a tip, feel free to do so with the link in the description. I appreciate every single donation. Thank you so very much. But anyway, so take a little pause for the moment, but yes indeed, it is very much valiant for a person like this to be writing this on a PS Vita, because I do used to own one, and they are very hard to write on, and that is without a Bluetooth keyboard, so very good going, sir. Very good going indeed. And yes, Cosmic VAs, indeed, God, this is just like one of my Japanese anime, Connor White says, why fix plot holes now when you can claim you'll fix them later? Indeed, Connor. There's no time to be fixing plot holes right now. If you're creating a magnum opus, you have plenty of time to fix those holes. So, there's no need to worry there. So, it's all good in the hood, as the kids might say. The almighty Goomba says, Sony's really scraping the bottom of the barrel with their marketing, huh? Trying to write fanfiction on a PS Vita. Not exactly a strong selling point, but It is a selling point nonetheless. In July, cells are all dying. All of them. Well, I hope they don't die too much. But in any case, let's move on to the next one. And just need to change the font of this. And again, this is another short one. And again, I do apologize for the very short ones, but this is pretty much what we have to deal with, because the amount of bad fanfiction for RWBY is so rare. But if you fans do have one that you know, please leave a comment. Please leave a message, and we shall jump on them, because I'm all about the fanfiction. But anyway, we're now going to a Friday the 13th and RWBY crossover of title of 60 words. It's almost like an interpretive poem. So this one is called By Black Swordsman 2, RWBY Fanfic, The Stranger. This my story, I'm like to write, and it will be awesome. Now let's get started. This is a RWBY x Jason fanfic, but he might be looking different because I don't like his bald head. I think he looks badass with black spiky hair and a black hockey mask. It makes you think to not mess with him, okay? Now I need to stop talking or there'll be no story, so peace out! The review simply says, no. As in, there's no story. In fact, the story was so transcendent. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, he has another one. RWBY Fanfic, it's called. This is a RWBY fanfic, but I'm new, so this might be bad, but hey, YOLO. It's okay, so there will be an OC team with Team RWBY and the others now. Enjoy, but tell me if there is anything I need to change. Hello there, this is Black Swordsman 2, and this is a RWBY fanfiction, and there will be one OC team of the characters, but this chapter is a test because I am new to writing stories. If you can help me out, that will be great. Well, I do have one thing to say. Write a story. There's no shame in writing a story. So, I do wish you luck, Black Swordsman 2. I think I'm going to need something a little stronger. Just kind of get me through. Something a different tint this time. Oh, nice sweet tint. Nice sweet tint, that brandy. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Alright. Let's take a look at this one. 08 Melodies? You see the power of the cookies? Well, do bear with me one moment and I shall look for this. Oh, okay. My apologies. I got a little confused there, but okay. But if you do come across any RWBY fanfictions, I'd be sure to be most appreciative. But anyway, let's have a look at this one. This one is a Sword Art Online RWBY crossover. This one done by Silver Schnee 15. And before we continue on with this, I would appreciate most kindly if you are to share this stream for any fans of RWBY out there. But let's get on with this other one. This one is called The Cross Dimension by Silver Schnee 15. This story is about Tabitha and Elizabeth somehow crossing dimensions from anime to anime. It's strange to think that they can do that this story begins with SAO, where Tabitha and Elizabeth get stuck in the game for 2 years, and meet up with many people like Kitio and Asuna too. Enjoy the story, and be cool to everyone. This is rated T for teen, by the way. The Cross Dimensions, a slightly different name there. Volume 1, Chapter 1, The Beginning. Hi, I'm Elizabeth Silver, and this is my story where I cross dimensions for animes that I watch. It starts in Sword Art Online. I got stuck in a VMMO where I met many people like Kirito and Asuna, but the time I spent there was horrible. Hey Tabitha, do you think you want to play a VMMO game like Sword Art Online? It'll be awesome, right? Yelled Elizabeth. Okay, hey Elizabeth, you're alright about this game, said Tabitha. Sure, it'll be okay, I'll make sure of it, but we have to get the game quick. So we started our adventure together in Swords Art Online, but soon we didn't know what will happen next. As soon as we got to Tab's place, we plugged in the nerve gear and entered SAO! We leveled up to level 5 before Tab and I were teleported to the Beginner's Center and heard what has happened. We didn't give up though. Although we couldn't log out, we could still try to get out by beating the 100th floor. We'll be back in the frontal attack line. 4 months passed since Tabitha and I were stuck where the game started. We leveled up 40 levels and meet Asuna in the front line. Also, we're up at the 29th floor and 900 people died trying to take off the nerve gear, but failed. Tabs, do you think we can take a break from the front line for a while? I don't think that's how war works. You can't just take a break there, but... Yes, indeed, Unas58. We do are confirmed for a very soon. But... Fine. At least we could take a few days off. But if you get in a fight with a red player, take them to prison so they don't hurt anyone, so you better take a teleport crystal. Got it? Yay! Does that mean that I can beat them up? Yelled Elizabeth. Sure, but don't go overboard by killing them, okay? Gentle patting Elizabeth on the head. We'll see how everything will go for us in the next few months to come. After a few minutes, what Tabitha said, a red player walked up to the home of ours. The player had his icon green and knocked on our door, and said that he needed food, but he knocked on the wrong door. I knew that he was the red player on the wanted poster. Hey, are you hungry? With an evil look on my face. Here's a burger. He didn't know that the burger had a teleport crystal in it. Hey, Bon, have a good trip to prison, as I punch him in the face with an evil look on me. Hey, Silver, have a good sleep, as Tab put me to sleep in my bed. Thank you, Tabit. The next morning, Tabitha and Elizabeth went to see a shop that had many... many what? It continues. It starts out in SAO. Oh, no, chapter 2. Who killed who? It starts in SAO with Tabitha and Elizabeth get stuck in the game with thousands of players trying to get out. Tab went to a shop to get some while Tabitha, I need your help. Someone killed a player just outside the safe zone. He was my best friend, Xander. Even though your best friend was supposed to be Tabitha. Said Brad. Oh, no, it's oh, okay, it's Brad. Later that day, Tabitha told Elizabeth what happened, and they both left with Elizabeth's new custom dual size with Tabitha's new axe, the name for the weapons, Raging Death. And Elizabeth's weapon is the Crescent Moon. As we got there, Tabitha and I saw Kirito and Asuna there too, so we said hi, and awesome people around noticed that no one saw there was no problems here. Tabitha, Asuna, Kirito, and Elizabeth is on a little journey to the entrances to the safe zone. As we get close to it, Elizabeth Silver had a bad feeling, so she said, Hey guys, I have a bad feeling about this. Really? Asked Asuna. Yes, so let's be careful from now on, okay? Okay, everyone said. As they traveled for about 15 minutes in there were 7 red players around them, so we stopped. Where did you kill the player, or did you make it up? Kirito explained. No, we didn't. It was so we can lure you in. Mwah! Everyone look up. Boom! Well, is there another one? No. Just kind of ends there. So we never know what happened after the boom. That is a literal bombshell. And whatever happened to Brad? Oh, sorry for that guy. Yes, indeed, Cosmic VAs. It is indeed a ding. But anyway. That was definitely a thing. And, oh, such a cliffhanger there. But, mustn't waste time. We have to move on to the next one. And this one is a straight up RWBY fanfiction, so no crossovers this time. But this one is simply entitled by Mr. I don't know what I'm doing, Jeff Hates RWBY. Hello everyone, and welcome. When an egotistical jerk who hates RWBY more than anything is forced into the universe, our story begins. Hello everyone, and welcome to Jeff Hates RWBY, story when an asshole who hates RWBY is forced into their world and comedy ensues. If that sounds like your kind of thing, go to the next chapter. Constructive reviews for the series will be really helpful. Thanks. It was a great day for Team RWBY, the color-coordinated team of teenage girls who attended a high school where you learned English, math, history, and how to kill monsters, otherwise known as Beacon. Today, the canteen, which usually made day-old burgers and dishes, served cool pinkish ice cream that fills students with sugar and caused them to bounce around the school at an alarming rate. Today was also the day where all the members of RWBY, Ruby Rose, Vaishni, Blake Belladonna, and Yang Xiaolong received A+ for their hard work and long nights spent on their biology homework, resulting in the good mood of all of them. Soon after the biology class, they headed to the class of monster fighting taught by the plump Professor Port, who possessed a smooth, godly walrus moustache, and praised the leader of the group Ruby Rose for defeating a Grim in record time, giving a whole team a cheer from most of the class. In fact, by the time they had reached the location of their last class, they were almost glowing with happiness and pride, sure that nothing could ruin their glorious day. But they weren't counting on the sudden and rude arrival of Jeff McLoser! Oh, Jeff McLoser. Oh, oh dear. Oh, that's a brilliant name, Jeff McLoser. What's the dilly, Jeff McLoser? Oh my goodness, that's a classic. I love that. I love that name. Lose time. Jeff McLoser was born into a rich and highly respected, as well as human, family of the McLosers. The first 17 years of Jeff's life takes place on Earth. No one in their neighborhood ridiculed the surname. Their family had donated generous amounts of money and goods to various people in need. Well, they definitely a loser. They're a loser of money, if you know what I mean. Making them the kindest people for miles around. This was until their son Jeff was born. The boy did not live up to the expectations of his father and mother by their very first day. Despite his handsome face, he cried non-stop and slapped his parents and spat at their friends. This, however, was just the beginning. By the age of 10, Jeff was a complete and utter asshole. Haha, dear reader, didn't censor that one. He'd already learnt an impressive array of insulting words from his shady friends, which he used against everyone, parents or teachers. He didn't care. The only son of the McLosers was caught vandalizing public property once too many times, not to mention beating up much bigger and nicer people than him for fun, earning him a nickname he enjoyed hearing from the trembling lips and hurried whispers of his peers. Alpha. I prefer the name Asshat, but Alpha will do. Despite this, his worried parents still had hope for their delinquent son. Our hope was reduced to a sliver by the time he was 17. Jeff's teenage years had catapulted his mischievous behavior into a truly beastly one. He intimidated his parents, threatened his elders, and pummeled his peers. By this stage, Alpha had no friends or allies, only servants who did his bidding just to avoid being beaten up. Their master was filled with hate towards all things, even the best of the best. He hated books, he hated people, and most of all, he hated the show rising to popularity not just in his school, but in the world. The show was none other than RWBY. Even the closest people to him could not determine a real reason why he hated the show, only that he really loathed it. So much so that just speaking the name aloud near him could get you a quick trip to the hospital. This rule applied to the teachers as well. Majority of them loved the colourful and well-made anime. In fact, the single reason why Jeff was still in the school was because there was no doubt in any of their minds that they would be killed instantly by the student if they dare propose the idea. This gives us a very interesting basis for our story. It was an absolutely horrid day for the McLosers neighborhood. Usually when someone says it in the area, it is a way of saying weather is bad, such as on this day. Rain was pouring onto the muddy roads and neatly cleaned houses, accompanied by the speeding winds that cracked trees and the restless lightning. Jeff looked out of the windows onto the flooded road and darkly lit afternoon, before swirling around to face a stack of RWBY merchandise he purchased to destroy and hang on the telephone wires of the city. Plunging a thick and muscly arm into the adorable face of a RWBY plushie, he ripped off his cotton-stuffed head with a grim satisfaction. Throwing it aside, he moved on to a white plushie and positioned the only light source in his messy room, a rusted, flickering metal lamp to its smiling face. Taking out a sharp, pointing needle, he expertly carved a highly offensive word in its chest with vigor. Abruptly, the room lit up with a strange alien blue light. Jeff spun around impatiently, trying to find the source of the light, his keen eyes resting on the glowing and deformed Vice doll. Jeff was not afraid. He wasn't going to be intimidated by a stupid pillow. Grabbing his needle, he thrust it hard into the face of the doll, spreading tufts of cotton around his room, gritting his sparkly and clean teeth. "Go to hell, you shitty doll!" Censored that one. I won't uncensor it unless you want me to. And I want you to, so therefore I'm going to uncensor it for you, good sir. The cuddly and glowing plush of Weiss Schnee seemed to sneer in his face, and from its wounds burst forth an orb of ghostly light, pulling him towards it. His eyelids felt heavy fast, and his head hurt terribly. Jeff struggled with all of his might to push away, his muscles bulging. Sounds seemed to fade. His vision was fuzzy and clouded. A sweet scent of trees and flowers in the forest filled his head, pushing out all his other thoughts immediately. His whole being was forced forth, slamming against the plushie with a loud crash. The voice of his mum calling for him sounded far away and distorted, like he was listening to a voice on an old television. He threw his lamp arm into the head of Vice, attempting to squash it, but his knees buckled, his body now encased in the orb. And he fell painfully onto the wooden floor. In a final effort to destroy the demented doll, Jeff clasped his numb fingers around the hilt of a little Swiss Army knife he had got from boot camp once and tried to impale it, but his arm fell to the ground as his hearing left him and the sight of the glowing doll was eaten up by darkness. X. Jeff McLoser could hear his own soft breathing. Below him was a bed of prickly glass which poked at his back. He could smell the sweet scent of the flowers and the cheerful tweet of the birds. Slowly but surely, his eyelids lifted, revealing his location to be a forest. But a weirdly looking forest. Everything seemed animated. It took a while for his groggy brain to register this, but when he did, Jeff shot up and peered around at his surroundings like a handsome adventurer in an undiscovered area. Around him was the bright colors of large and beautiful plants, the large and thick trunks of ancient trees that sprouted massive branches which housed great green leaves that spread out and formed the roof of the forest that he found himself in. But everything looked wrong. Animated. Breathing heavily. Jeff raised his hand to wipe his sweaty forehead, but something else was wrong with him. His arms were not like usual. They had less detail and was richer in color. As soon as he discovered, so was his whole body. Even his privates. Jeff sat down on the dirty forest floor, his hand crushing the dried leaves that were scattered around to process the situation. Jeff was no idiot. He knew he was in the animated world of RWBY. Somehow. But he once again grit his teeth, snatched his knife from under a weed a few inches away from him, and strode through at the clearing. He had no idea what to do. Seek help from the stupid inhabitants of this world? He would rather die. Feeling like this inflated his ego and chest, but deep down, somewhere in the murky arrogance and anger of his heart, lay a tiny sense of fear. It creeped its way to the head, making him frightened of his current situation. Reasoning with the fear and anger in his heart, his final plan was to find the school Bacon or whatever the hell it was called, and get help to get him the fuck out of this place. He quickly found out, however, that the bushes and branches of the Emerald Forest were more than reluctant to let him pass, catching on his shirt and ripping his jeans. The great oaks and beeches of the first were tightly packed together, making it almost impossible to see more than a dozen meters ahead without tripping on the numerous thick roots that were spread out on the floor. By the time he had reached the edge of the forest and the school in sight, night had fallen. Jeff gazed at the high school in wonder. The shimmery light of the moon and the stars reflected on the white stone of the elegant structure, giving off the illusion that it was sparkling, like a beacon in the night. But Jeff had no time for this. He shook his light brown hair out of his face and carefully climbed down the gentle slope that he was on, and broke into a run towards the beacon of the night, his stomach growling like a pissed-off tiger. Bacon! Remember, this is what he thought Beacon was called. Better have some good food, thought McLoser hurriedly, as he rapped his hard knuckle on the massive wooden doors of the school. A low, sad howl could be heard in the distance, deep in the forest where other beastly things lived. Jeff's sky-blue pupils dilated in fear. His eyes widened at the thought of what the howl could belong to. A hungry wolf? A giant great monster? Freak. The heavy doors of Beacon slowly swung open, pulling his attention away from the terrors of the forest to the inside of the school, where a tall figure could be seen standing still, shrouded in darkness. A stern but warm voice of a male rung into the night. Who are you, and what do you seek here? Jeff swallowed, his old attitude slowly returning.
None of your business. I want to see the principal of this dump.
The figure straightened up. Jeff could feel the strong glare of annoyance on his head, even if he couldn't see it. I am the principal of this school. Now I want to know who you are, and what you are doing here, now. McLoser almost told him everything. His old life, his fear, his confusion, if not for a dark and evil idea slid into his mind, growing a big grin on his face.
I am a student here, but I came late because of a delay. I hope I can still enter.
The figure strode forward, the moonlight revealing him to be a middle-aged man with white hair and crooked spectacles, in a black suit over a black vest and dark green shirt. What is your name, young man? Jeff's idea was to pose as a student, causing anarchy in the schools, something that will hopefully end up on the show, and making the life of RWBY a living hell. He smiled and answered Professor Ozpin.
Name's Alpha.
Oh god, what an asshole. Chapter 4. Mist curled around Beacon like a giant grey snake. The powerful rays of the rising sun through it. It was an early morning, and still a great day for Team RWBY. Sure, Yang had been disqualified from the Vital Festival from attacking and breaking the leg of another contestant, Mercury Black, a grey-haired, robot-legged evil dude. Mercury had been working with Cinderfall and Emerald Sustre, bet you didn't know that was her last name, two other villains of the RWBY series. Of course, no one knows this yet, not even Jeff McLoser, who disguised himself as a student of the school. Today was the start of when the final contestants of the Vital Festival, a ceremony where all the kingdoms in the air gathered their best students from their best schools to battle it out, would usually fight dirty. The heat of the battle and the hunger for the first prize consumed mostly everybody. Jeff didn't know anything about this world, and he didn't care. All he wanted to do was cause pain and annoyance to everyone, unaware of the events that will follow, events that will send the world of this American anime tumbling into chaos. The morning was tingling with excitement. Everyone was now more anticipating a dirty battle involving cheats, swear words, and even maybe some Star Wars-style limb chopping off. But no one was more excited than our protagonist, who had been up all night, planning his devious pranks. Studying along the highly polished and shining tiles of the canteen floor, with a spring in his step and a grin on his face, McLoser's long but strong fingers twisted and moved around about in his pockets of his tight jeans as he reached the first table infested with these yamming characters he dimly recognized from first seeing them on the screen of an old laptop of one of his old friends. This was one at the table of Team J and PR, Jean, Nora, Pyrrha, and Ren. Sliding happily into the seat next to stuttering Jean, Jeff introduced himself with a flourish.
Hello.
Each right eyebrow except Jeff's arched and flew into a clump of hair above. Ren stabbed at the brownish potato on his plate before turning to his full attention to the newcomer. Hello, I haven't seen you around. Are you new? Jeff gave him a slight but sug smile.
Indeed I am. Just joined last night. Who are you?
I'm Ren. She's Pyrrha. He waved his hand across the table, indicating the red-haired spear-using warrior to give her a raucous smile. This is Nora. Nora energetically waved back. And this is our team leader, John. Jean opened his mouth as if he wanted to say something funny, but thought better of it and shut his mouth. Jeff stood up and got ready to move on to another table. Nice to meet you. Nice eyes, Ren. The purple of her eyes of Ren narrowed. Tame GMPR just watched him leave, jump-struck at his strange character, not knowing what to think. Their thoughts strayed back to whatever was on their plates as Jeff peered around the hall. Eventually finding the table of Team RWBY. Striding to the bench with a calm smile, his outstretched hand waved its way to their attention. Yang glared at the flapping limb above her with her deep lilac eyes. Yeah? Jeff's smiles widened, pulling at his smooth skin. Hi, I'm Alpha, new here. A soft hello escaped from Ruby's lips, fading rapidly into the air that had angry glares of the rest of her team, streaking across it, aiming at the intruder's smug face. An awkward silence between them lengthened. Ruby stared at Alpha, who was bouncing on his heels, smiling, waiting for him to leave or say something of importance. Finally, Vice smashed the ice with an impatient huff, folding her arms and shaking her head, waving her silky white hair about. Anything else to say, or are you just gonna stand there? His hand was on his right chest immediately in a possible imitation of shock and anger. I wanted to say that you're a big fan of your group. Stop being wick torch and all, but now that you're so rude... His voice trailed off, hinting his disappointment, but the blonde member of the team growled, apparently unsatisfied with his response. You didn't even get his name right. It's Torchwick, not Wick Torch. So what is the real reason you're here, huh? Jeff stood still as a statue for a few seconds before. I'm pretty sure it was Wick Torch. Vice sighed in frustration. Blake whirled around to face him, but Yang took this one, shooting up and growling louder, much to the fear of her younger sister. Ruby was pretty frightened of her sister when she was mad, but Yang stood a few inches from a slightly taller Jeff. Being a teenager with an incredibly, albeit questionably dangerous power of her eyes going red when she was angry, sparking fire all around her, wave of yellow hair streaming from her scalp, the growl emitted from her mouth made the hair on Jeff's neck stand up, for the first time, scared of a Ruby character. Yang hissed her words slowly, trying to control her anger. If you have nothing to say, leave. Alpha shivered. There was just something freaky and scary to him about this girl. He grit his teeth, ready to let loose a real biting remark. Clenched fists, sweaty palms, he could literally feel heat radiating from the person in front of him. Out of the corner of his eyes, he could see the little girl in red slap her hands over her ears. The one in right roll her eyes as if she'd seen this 1,000 times, and the one in black look upon the situation in mild interest. He had hundreds of vulgar and rude insults to throw at this girl's way, speeding around in his pounding brain. But he waited. But he waited, indeed. Was it fear that froze his body, or some disease? 10 seconds ticked by, but it felt like an agonizing hour staring into the flaming rich purple pupils of Yang Xiaolong for Jeff. When another 5 seconds crawled by, Jeff threw in the towel and turned slowly away, feeling ashamed, hurt, and intimidated. Most of the hall had not taken much notice of the incident, but Jeff felt like all of the ice was burning onto his skin as he slowly trudged away in defeat. Tears stung the edges of his eyes, sadness flooded his heart, a sick feeling had crept into his gut. But then something stronger erupted inside of him like a defense mechanism. Jeff just got intimidated, something that had so rarely happened to him in his entire life, and this time it wasn't even from a real person. Quickly, all other emotions were turned into a boiling wave of anger, causing him to wheel around at Yang, who gave him a surprised expression. Finally remembered what you were going to say? The Cluser balled his wet fists and stomped right to her. Yeah, I remembered. That outfit makes you look fat. Oh. That insult had just popped into his mind, and unable to think of anything else, was spurted out. Later on in his life, Jeff cringed at this insult, but it seemed to offend the blonde brawler immensely anyway, so it served its purpose. Ruby's hands were now ruby red from pressing on the sides of her head so hard, and their hair seemed to be filled with Yang's unmistakable anger. But Jeff didn't back down. He had had enough. All his life he was the bully, and everyone cowered in his presence. He was like a monster to them. But neither did Yang. She was strong enough to take on anyone who faced her, even Jeff McLoser. The both went standing down anytime soon, glaring at each other with absolute hate, such strong hate that oozed out of their clenched teeth and grabbed the attention of everyone in the hall, who were drawn away from their food to stare down in the middle of the canteen. And that's pretty much it. That's a little bit of a shame, really. Kind of wanted to see a little more, but oh well. But yes, that was pretty much what it was going to be. Somebody named Jeff doesn't like RWBY, wants to go and take them on, but unfortunately doesn't have the guts to do so. But anyway, let's done this one. Okay, we have 2 more left. So this one is an Attack on Titan RWBY crossover, and this one is by Sexy AOT Fanfic, called RWBY's Crazy Ass Adventure, and let's hope it's less crazy than Jeff McLoser. Okay, my first fanfic. Ruby goes on a fucking weird ass adventure. This is my first fanfic. Don't go nice. Okay. Don't go nice. Don't go nice. Right. Okay, I won't. Ruby jumped from the bed and laughed in the crushed Vice.
Lol, you crushed by my bunk, noob.
Vice was so furious with the little girl, so she yelled at her, which almost made her cry. But she's Ruby, so her innocence kicked in and she said, "Lol, get no-scoped." Vice was so furious, so she yelled, "Help me, bitch!"
Okay, Ruby said.
Ruby ducked down to Vice's level and smiled.
I'm hungry, Vice.
Vice yelled, but Ruby told her it was okay. Ruby started to eat Vice. Right. Vice said, "What the fuck, man? I thought you were going to get fattening potato chips, dipshit."
That isn't nice, Ruby said,
So she continued eating Vice. Vice finally stated, "Wait, what the fuck is happening?" Ruby looked up and said,
I don't know, blame sexy OAT fanfic. He's got all the problems, but you're gonna be dead, so... Are you shitting me? You just ate my leg!
Vice argued. A few minutes passed and Vice's whole lower body was eaten. Vice got angry and said,
"You're a little bitch. No one likes you. Go die, lol."
Ruby shoved her hair under her bed and waited for nothing. Just like that. Yeah, I thought about fanfics in school. Yeah, this is only part 1. And the title of this chapter was called Vice's Bed is a Major Bitch. I'm actually curious to see the reviews. Ren does it for free. Note to Ruby. Get a trip and don't browse B ever. Go to SAO or S4S or something. Never do I found this work to be an utter crap in every way. Alright then. Okay. Chapter 2. Needs to be edited. Ruby walked down the hall, feeling like she wanted to punch someone. Why is everyone a little bird, she thought. She saw Yang and had a flashback of her old abusive life, because she didn't have one. Yang was fucking skipping to her loo, like some retard. Ruby got so angry and so scared like she yelled at Yang, "Listen here, sister who hit me, I'm going on 4chan." Then she ran in her dorm and started typing. "Be me, I have a horrible group of friends. I have to go to the school with these shitheads. I have to live with my sister, some faunus or some bitch. She's like Marco now, but I had a horrible childhood. My sister was the worst. SMH, she still exists. You guys are my only escape, smiley face." "I'm sad," Ruby said to herself. Yang came in and said, "Yo, Rubes, shut two up. I'm too MLG for you, bitch. I'm dank and you're not MLG, bitch," Ruby yelled. "I'm shocked, Rubes. Why are you Yang said, "Stop calling me Stop calling me pubes. Never talk to me again, bitch," Ruby yelled. Yang climbed on her bed and watched some videos. A while later, about night. "Hey guys," Blake Belladonna said, coming in. "Hey, emo kitty, winky kitty face JKXD," Ruby replied. "Yang?" Blake asked Yang. "Oh, just ignore her," Yang said, still watching a video. Ruby jumped on her bed and she heard Vice, so she screamed, but only Blake and Ruby heard it. I jumped weird," Ruby yelled, trying to cover up that she heard Vice. "You mean you landed weird, Ruby?" Blake asked the girl. Yes, I did. Thanks, buddy," Ruby said. Ruby hopped on her laptop and went on 4chan. "Hey, guys. Rubes with no pubes here." Right. Rubes with no pubes. "I'm back. My kitty friend is back." Winky kitty face. "But my sister hit me again." Sad face. "She's so mean." Yeah. Ruby looked down and her jaw dropped in horror. Jean had found her. Jean-Arc de Pimp says, "Yo, is your name Ruby Rose?" Rubes with no pubes says, "No, you normie scrub, go away." Ruby slammed her computer and laid down. She was thinking. "Oh, is that a 5-course meal?" Ruby thought to herself, but then it hit her. She had to wait, though, for Yang to go back to the retarded gym. Damn. She reopened her computer and went on Google+. The notifications were spammed by her sister. She had to block her. Ruby went on YouTube and checked her video. Oh fuck, she found my channel. She found it. She busted me. Shit, I have to stop her. Delete a comment. Ruby thought to herself. She hadn't realized that her face had flushed and Yang saw it. She realized and looked up. She saw Yang menacingly smiling at her and the blonde whispered, "Oops, sorry, Rubes. Didn't know that I hit ya." Ruby almost lost it, her face really flushing. Oh fuck. Wasn't the video. Fuck. She knows. Fuck. I'm busted! Ruby yelled in her head. Yang looked out of the window and said, Welp, see you guys. It's getting dark and I'm heading off to the gym now. Fuck yes, the gym, that little bitch, Ruby thought violently. And by the way, thank you, Joey Cool, for the tip. Very much appreciated. If you'd like to leave a tip for everyone else yourself, feel free to check the link in the description. Thank you very much. Yang patted Blake on the back, which startled her a bit, but she didn't mind. But then she started to try to kiss Ruby on the forehead, but Ruby pushed her away and yelled, Go away! Yang shrugged and opened the door. Ruby quietly said, Yang, may you please turn off the light? Yang looked back to the room and said, Ruby, what you say again? Ruby said, May you please turn off the light? Just do it and we'll never talk about this again. Yang replied, Okay. She turned off the light, unsure why. She closed the door and walked to the gym. Ruby went on her computer. Afraid, she went on 4chan. Fuck, Sean. Wait, Nora? Piera? Shit, lie, Ren. Gotta check this out. Ruby thought to herself as she clicked on the post. Ren never comes on unless she wants to protect his shit! Ruby gritted her teeth. Lie, Ren. Why are you making fun of everyone? That isn't cool. Gay isn't an insult. FGGOT isn't an insult. NGG3R isn't either. Stop, it's offensive. Nora Valkyrie Boop says, Yeah, Ruby, I didn't know that you were so mean. ... Pira Nikos Archer said, Ruby, I expected differently from you. You're always so nice. Jean-Arc the Pimp says, Yes, Ruby, it's rude. Making fun of people will make insecurity stronger, so just stop. Ruby was afraid, but she mattered under her breath. Pussies. Rubes with no pews. Ha ha! Stop me, bitches! Lol. XDD, XDDD, XDDD, XD, 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 XDDDD. Lol, Bic, XD. I'll kick your asses, XD, since it's across the hall, XD. She sent it and she realized too late. Fuck, I gave myself away. But the replies came in quick. Her face flushed. The word banned flashed across her eyes like a slash from a grim. Ren was a mod. She'd gone too far. She brushed it off, but she couldn't. So she turned off her computer. Time for the master plan. She had a life-size doll of herself, more like for Zwei, but still. She put on one pair of her pajamas on it with ease. She taped something on it, a speaker. So if Blake wanted to talk to her, she took the books from Blake and Yang's bunks, who slammed down and made Blake shriek. Ruby whispered into the microphone, You okay? To Blake, but it sounded like it came from Ruby's bed. Yeah, how about you, Ruby? Blake asked. Yeah, I am. Ruby lied as she cut up the legs to Yang's bed. Blake jumped and nearly hit her head. You okay? Ruby said. Well, of course, Ruby, Blake said, but she didn't trust it, so she kind of climbed under her bed. Ruby crushed her. She cut the legs to Blake's bed off, and she broke the head of Blake's bed. Blake screamed and Ruby opened her eyes. Ruby turned on the lights. What have I done? Ruby asked herself as she saw his Blake crushed body. Ruby nearly cried. She raised Crescent Rose above her head. Blake looked up and said, It's okay. Only my body was split. No, it isn't. It's crushing you, Ruby yelled. No, it's... Blake coughed, then continued. But why did you do what you did? Shut up, Ruby fired up and yelled at Blake. The tears started to come out. Vice died. I saw her. I was 2-1 who shrieked, Blake said, but she continued. But why? Why? You used to be so different from the girl you used to be. You're a cyberbully, a bully, a murderer. How am I a murderer? Ruby thundered at Blake. You don't know. You could have killed someone. Someone could have committed suicide because of you. Have you ever thought of your actions? Do you? Blake asked angrily to Ruby. The words had phased Ruby deeply, like deep scars. She was able to mutter, I don't know. You do. Those are the words of a liar. I've heard those words before. You've changed people for the worse, Ruby, you have. You have even murdered Vice. What the hell is your problem? Blake continued her onslaught of questions. But why? What happened? What happened? Why have you changed? What made you change? Blake continued, coughing multiple times. Ruby had sunken, tears staining the carpet. She finally said, Because it happened to me. Something happened to me. Too painful, just... Ruby lowered, sobbing uncontrollably. You poor thing. Tell me all of it. I'm sorry if you regress anything, but I'd be glad to help you, Blake said to Ruby. They made eye contact, and the first time in years, the old spark in her eyes barely returned. Ruby replied, Okay, I'll start off with the most painful part. Yang's feet stomped on the treadmill. She smoked to herself and said, 60 miles. And that's it. And, oh, Okay. Sexy AOT fanfic is a very, colorful profile. Anyway, I'm going to take a little break before the final entry. But anyway. Yes, the almighty Goomba does indeed need to be edited, but yes, so, that was a kind of weird-ass adventure, that's for sure. But anyway, I'm afraid it is time for our final fanfic of this hour. It has gone by so very fast, but this one came as a surprise. It's not a RWBY fanfiction. It's actually a Gamington Smite fanfiction. Somebody has gone to this, and I've just discovered this myself. This is actually a Gamington Smite fanfiction. And it's simply titled The Greatest Story Ever Told. And it's a web show's Sonic the Hedgehog crossover. And this one is by AMV Victor. Master Gamington Smite III of Channel Awesome gets caught up in an adventure he will never forget. I'm indeed looking forward to this. The Greatest Story Ever Told. One day, Master Gamington Smite III was setting up his camera so that he could record another fabulous reading of another fabulous fanfiction. Oh, you're too kind. You're too kind. But this was not any other fanfic. No, this was better. It was featuring all his all-time favorite subject, Sonic and Rainbow Dash. I wouldn't call this a favorite, but it's definitely one of them, but it's not the favorite. And what were they doing? Why, Mr. Gamington Smite's third favoritist thing ever. Dating! Yes, it was the Sonic X Dashy fanfic. Okay. He started reading the work of art when he was interrupted by a knock at the door. He got up to answer it and he couldn't believe his eyes. It was the real Sonic and Rainbow Dash standing at his door. Oh my golly goo! Oh my golly goo. That's a new thing. We've had What's the Dilly Filly and now we've had Oh my golly goo. Oh my golly goo, Master Gamington Smite III said in surprise. You guys are real. You bet your ass we're goddamn real, said Sonic in a cool Sonic voice. Wow, what are you guys doing at my house? He asked the greatest video game character ever made. Well, you see, said Rainbow Dash, we're on a date and all, but we totally can't think of what to do. We need your help to plan our date. Date? Why, I was just reading a fanfiction about you dating. Oh my, this is a bit odd. I concur. That sounds awesome, said Sonic. So, can you help us? Why, of course I will help you, said Master Gamington Smite III. Planning dates is like my second job. Master Gamington Smite invited the two in and then went to his living room. He pulled out his Rainbow Dash pen and Sonic stationery and started jotting down ideas. In the meantime, Sonic and the Dash were enjoying some tea and white gravy biscuits. All of a sudden, another knock came at the door. After all the luck he's been having today, Master Gamington Smite III wondered if it was something even more magic. Maybe it was a date for him. Well, I can obviously say that I am taken. On his step stood a hedgehog who looked a lot like Sonic, but it was a girl in red. Original character, do not steal or else fire eyes. She wore some sexy-ass shorts and a tight Hot Topic tee which said goth across it. Master Gamington Smite III was never much of a furry, but he'll try anything once. Hello, beautiful, he said. Can it prep pants? She said. The name's Scarlet Thorns and I'm looking for some people. Who? He asked. A hedgehog named Sonic and a pony named Rainbow Dash. And what do you want with these people? Asked Master Gamington Smite III, feeling a bit nervous about her intentions. I'm here, camera zooms into her face, to break up this ship. No! Came a scream from behind Master Gamington Smite III. It was Rainbow Dash. Can it prep pony pants? She smiled, pointing at her with her long black painted fingernail. Who the hell ships a hedgehog with a pony? Ponies should be shipped with ponies, and hedgehogs, she pointed at Sonic, should be shipped with me. She then started walking towards Sonic and Rainbow Dash. You're mine, Sonic. Hedgehogs belong together. Master Gamington Smite III had to do something before she ruined his OTP. Stop, Scarlet Thorns, he yelled. Why would you try to break up something so beautiful? Love is love, and Sonic the Hedgehog and Rainbow the Dash is the ultimate love. The one true pairing, and I will not let you break up something so perfect. But what about me, said Scarlet Thorns. What about my perfect love with Sonic? We were meant to be. It says so in my bio. Sonic walked up to Scarlet Thorns and put a hand on her shoulder. Baby, I love you. I love you more than Chili Dogs or Sonic Adventure 2. Honey, I would be all yours, but I love Rainbow Dash even more. Scarlet Thorns started crying. Sonic gave her a hug. Rainbow Dash then joined in. Master Gamington Smite III looked upon the trio. It was so beautiful that they almost seemed to glow. Then a ray of light came from his ceiling, and then they were actually glowing. From the light came a voice. You must fix this, my son, said the voice echoing. Doug? Asked Master Gamington Smite III. The light faded away. The three still huddled and crying. Master Gamington Smite III fast. He had to fix this. He then had it. Sonic! Rainbow Dash! Scarlet Thorns! I know how to fix this so that everyone can be happy, he said. How? They asked. You'll all be a couple together. Together? Asked Rainbow Dash confused. Yes, a three-way relationship, you know, like Sonic x Dashy x Thorns. Is that even possible? Asked Sonic. In fanfiction, anything is possible. You know what? I like Prep Pants' idea. All this time I was hating on your love when I could have been joining it. The three then huddled up and did a three-way kiss. Thanks, Master Gamington Smite III, said Sonic, giving a thumbs up. You saved the day, thus you are way past cool. Master Gamington Smite III blushed. The three then said their goodbyes and left. Master Gamington Smite then went back to his filming room and finished reading his Sonic x Dashy fanfic. The end. That was so beautiful. Thank you so much, AM Victor. I am indeed going to follow and favorite this, so I'm going to favorite this story. I am going to do so, and I am going to say, thank you so much, my friend, for the incredibly true-to-life tales of my good self. Until the next time, Toodle Pip. Signed, NGS the Third. His review has been posted. Thank you very much, AMV Victor. And thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. It has been a very interesting ride. Even though we have discovered too many great things. We have had Jeff McLuser. We have had Oh My Golly Goo. And yes, indeed, Manuel Miguelino. This did indeed happen. And, Ruby Rose asked Senpai, can you read my fanfics? Well, Ruby Rose, if you do have some fanfics, I would be more than happy to give them a look. Oh my golly goo McLuser. Indeed, yes, July. The 8 Melody says, I think I've died. Thank you, Real Avatar Blues. It has been indeed amazing. And don't worry, Fidey, I have noticed, Ruby. There are so many memes here. And yes, it is indeed very sweet. And I'm so happy, and it's so true to form that it is a happy ending. But anyway. Well, let's just keep an eye and see what Ruby Rose has to say. If there's a link or something, I shall wait for this. But in any case, that was indeed a lot of fun. I'm just going to ask everyone in the chat, what was your favourite fanfic tonight? And to be fair for the others, let's exclude this one, because quite clearly this is absolutely the best. But what was your favourite, viewers? Ruby Rose is saying it right now. And 8 Melody says, I feel like we need a Sonic Bad Fanfiction live. I do believe indeed. And actually, I have some good news for you. There is going to be another live stream this week. On Thursday, to celebrate the release of Deadpool this week, I am going to be doing a Bad Fanfiction live of Deadpool. So, tune in, same time, around 6 PM Eastern, for a special Deadpool edition of Bad Fanfiction live. So you're getting 2 streams. And of course, you're getting the second part of Waluigi and the Tennis Racket of Time on Wednesday. So, a lot of Bad Fanfiction this week. Jolly good. Jolly good. It's been too long. You are and always will be. Ah, yes, okay. Psychonauts Master. Well, I'm afraid we might not have much time to be able to read all of it. Is that Psychonauts Master? Is that the right one? But anyway, if you want to find me on on fanfiction.net, I do have an account, and it's this one, Master Gamington Smite the Third. So I do have an account here. You know that is me, and I like the nice little thumbnail. I like that. That's very nice. I'll tell you what. Let's read a little bit of it. Let's read a little bit of Psychonauts Master. This one. Let's give it a little read. Now, I'm not going to presume that this is bad at all. I'm going to go into this with a good heart. So, this one is done by Psychonauts Master, and it was called You Are and Always Will Be My Very Best Friend. The story that was never told. Jean Arc and Blake Belladonna's childhood friendship. Read the rise and fall of a memory. More Tawny coming soon. Spaced out version updated so it's easier to ready. Smiley face. Hey, are you alright? The boy said to the young Faunus girl. Yeah, the girl responded with teary eyes. What were you doing back there? Why did those bullies attack you? The boy asked. The girl looked down in sadness. Because I'm different. Because I believe I should be treated equally to humans, she pouted. The boy smiled. Here, give me your hand, he said, offering the young Faunus. The girl blushed as he lifted her head off the ground and dusted her off. You're not scared of me? The girl asked. Oh. Oh dear, my apologies, Ruby. My apologies. I will not read anymore because I do not wish to cause any stress for you. But I will read this in my own time. Because I don't believe this to be bad. It's totally a perfectly very nice tale of... It's like an origin story. So, I'm always for origin stories, so I'll give this a read in my own time. So, I'm not going to subject you to it. So, I'm sorry, 8 Melodies, but I just don't wish to cause any stress. I do not want to cause any stress and strain, especially in this chat, because we're all here just to chill out. So, you'll be able to catch this on fanfiction.net if you wish to peruse this any further, but I will do so in my own time. So, anyway, I shall read this in my own time, Ruby. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in tonight, and thank you all for spending time. And July, Bad Fanfiction Radio is indeed, to be honest, a little bit high maintenance. So I think Bad Fanfiction Live is a little bit more manageable in this situation. But in any case, thank you all so very much for tuning in, and be tuned to my Twitter at MasakoX for the latest poll for next week's stream, because we have Deadpool on Thursday, we have episode 2, we have part 2 of Waluigi on Wednesday, and on Monday we have the new stream. So indeed, I will put Sonic the Hedgehog there as an option. But anyway, thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. And I do believe to say thank you. And golly goo to you all. Golly goo to you all. Until the next Bad Fanfiction Theatre. Toodle pip!